The Vision, a Gothic story by Rolando Enrique Rosales Murga. Like many of the things in this life that leave us speechless, I slowly realized that this terrible crescent shaped vision is slowly eating away at me. My mind is wearing away bit by bit. It all began one spring afternoon. We went to visit some aunts in El Salvador. The quiet afternoons stirred memories of time immemorial, of unspeakable deeds. It was then that I arrived at my family's house, a little ahead of the others. It was then that I came across that macabre old man with white hair and eyes that had long since gone blind. I was just entering the compound when suddenly the strange old man burst out speaking. I vaguely recall him saying, "Take good care of this boy, for within him lie many special enigmas." At that moment I was troubled. What was that the wretched old man was talking about? He was blind. Besides, I tend to walk a little slowly and silent. How could it be that he had identified me? But I soon forgot about that incident. As we sat at the table, he began once again to recite words that at times filled the house with a chilling atmosphere. That terrible character said, "Sin, then, is a stain. It is impossible for man to eradicate it. Sin is also like a mark. We all bear it, and with it we go to the grave." It was when that the electricity suddenly went out. A tremendous flash of lightning flooded the atmosphere with a deafening noise. It struck one of the transformers supplying power to the town, a few houses away from my aunt's home. It was then that they brought out the kerosene lamps. As the small flame of each of the flickering lamps danced upon its base, I saw how the face of the evil old man seemed to change, like a goat, like I don't know what. I was horrified by what I saw in his eyes. I then walked in search of a store, which I reached feeling a bit nervous. I began asking for some pills. I needed to relax, even if just a little. The woman who served me was very beautiful, with long, straight blonde hair and beautiful green eyes. She asked me where I was from. Then she invited me into her home. Fearing I might be rude to her, I agreed. So we went inside, and I listened quietly as she told me about her family, a lineage of sorcerers and Satanists, shamans, Sahurim, Guinness, Mayomberos, worshippers of the seven powers. Then she told me about her grandfather, how he would sleep peacefully in his bed, but since he had a pact with Luzbel would drag him into the street, leaving him to sleep on ant hills or with stones for pillows. I remember that my grandfather also had a pact. He used to say that in his old age, sometime before he died, he will fall asleep in the bathroom. Then the servants that Lucero had appointed would come. They would carry him to his bed, where he would sleep and dream of the fate waited for him. But I'm digressing into other topics, and so began that night that would shape my life. She then delved deeper into the subject, telling me how Sabula, her father, had continued the ancient generational rituals and had gone blind because of his ambition to learn more and more about the underworld. She also said that her father wasn't entirely blind. It was strange. It was as if he knew where everything was, even though his eyes were clouded over. She then paused. She told me she'd be right back, that she was making some coffee. She left my side, telling me that she was the only person in her family who had broken with this damn tradition.
So I remained silent, lost in thought. Suddenly, I realized that a bitterly cold draft was seeping in through a window that opened onto the courtyard. I then focused my attention on that window, but there was something right in front of me. It was an utterly terrifying creature. It looked like an upright goat with a look of hatred in its eyes. I closed my eyes and thought I was hallucinating. I opened my eyes again, hoping to see nothing, but this time it was a beautiful being in every sense of the word. His attire was distinctly Victorian, which gave him a princely air. His eyes were as blue as the sky, his hair long, curly, and black. His nose seemed majestically perfect. He irradiated divinity. A weak smile played on his lips. His gaze instilled fear, despite his abundant beauty. Then my whole being was engulfed in a tremendous wave of tremors. The being passed through the solid wall in which the window was set. Then he arrived, the being, then she arrived, the being suddenly vanished. I told her I was leaving, that I had to get to my aunt's house, but I was stuttering, I was pale, I was sweating, and I had cold, crystalline beads of sweat on my forehead. I was trembling like someone with Parkinson's disease. Then she asked me what had happened to me. I just sobbed and replied, I saw him. I saw him. She understood. She said to me, he comes every night to ask my father to initiate me on these arts as well, but I've already decided not to get involved in those curses. Then she took me home. My mother was telling various stories. They were reminiscing about the golden years of their youth. Then the old man suddenly broke the silence once more. This time he said to me in a mocking tone, it is not then an honor to know the great one. Truly, I tell you that your being holds mysteries. But the time is not yet right. You are barely a teenager. You still fear arcane wisdom. Then Lucy, the daughter of this vile old man, silenced the nonsense the crazy old man was pouting with great displeasure. While she recounted to my mom what had happened, I was taken to the nearest church. I remember it was an evangelical church. On the way there, my mom covered my eyes. She told me, don't open your eyes, sweetheart, don't open them. But when I did open them, I saw that despicable yet beautiful being. That was when I was most unsettled, and my horror began anew. The old man's words swirled around in my head. They seemed like a flock of birds nesting in my mind. Before entering the old church, I remembered something whispering in my ear. You won't be able to defeat me. You belong to me. Don't even try to challenge me. And outside, I could hear many beings. I turned to see what was causing the unbearable commotion I heard. And there they were, all those beings of every shape and form. Some looked like reptilians, others were hairy, others had horns, others didn't even have eyes, but they screamed and laughed like jackals. Then the prayers for me began. The night passed in prayer. I couldn't sleep. 2 days later, I finally managed to fall asleep due to extreme exhaustion. But soon my sleep was disturbed. In my dream, I saw seven shadows chasing me. I woke up and heard in my room a dance with African influences, while I watched seven beings of seven colors dancing around me. They were repeating seven names in turn. In the center was one who looked like a virgin. He claimed to be a legua. I couldn't sleep for 3 more nights. When I finally returned to my city, one night while I was writing, I felt my vision turn bloody. I saw the whole house and everything around me as red. Suddenly, I felt a small being pounce on me, but it was nothing, or so I thought. Then, many strange and mixed feelings raged within me: pain, fear, anger. I don't know how many strange feelings overwhelmed me. So, I began to study more about these beings. I learned that the seven beings that were bothering me were the seven African powers, or the seven protectors, demons revered in Africa. Their names were Elegua, Imaya, Agun, Achun, Orula, Opatola, Chengo. I remember the seven names, which give me nightmares every night. And whenever I wake up at night, I find myself once again trapped in that vision.